A very happy and cheerful morning to all my dear students. I hope you all are fine at home and taking care of your health, right? So we're back with our English class. And look at the picture. Remember, in the last class we studied about poem number 4, Who's In, right? And if you look at the picture, you will be able to recall what the poem was about. So, now we will again revise the poem, that is poem number 4, Who's In. So, take out your textbook and this is your poem, poem number 4. So, in short, I am going to give a small recap, okay? We have already done this poem, but again we are going to revise it. This poem is about what? The poet talks about the small insects and pet animals that stay inside the house when everyone is out. Okay, so what the poem is about? It is about those creatures that live in the house when everyone is out. That is, when the family members are out, how do the pet animals and the creatures that are living in the house, how do they react, how do they think? So, these were all the creatures in the poem. You can see there is a dog right here, there is a cat, then there is a fly, there is a mice, then there is coal. So all these are what? These are the main characters of the poem. And once again we are going to recite the poem. Let's start with it. The door is shut fast and everyone's out. But people don't know what they are talking about. Who said this? Says the fly on the wall, and the flame on the coals, and the dog on his rock, and the mice in their holes. So you can see all these creatures. See, there is a dog, and see there is the rug also, and there is a hole, and you can see there is a mice, and the kitten curled up. You remember, we discussed how does the kitten sit? The kitten is curled up. And the spiders that spin. What? Everyone's out? Why? Everyone's in. So, these poor little innocent creatures, they don't understand. Why do these human beings, they come and then they go? What do they do outside? वो लोग कहाँ जाते हैं? What work do they do? And then again suddenly they are back home. So all these things make these creatures confused. So this we had already discussed. Now we are going to discuss the notes, that is the exercise part. Okay? So you can see this is the exercise part. First we are going to discuss with the central idea of the poem. So what is the central idea? It means what the poem is about. Always remember, children, we should know what exactly is the poem about. Now, in every story or every poem, there is something, there is some concept. So, in poems, what we do is we also understand what is the central idea. So, central idea means what the poem is about. This has to be written in the notebook. Okay, you have to write it in the beginning itself. So what is the central idea? The poet describes the small creatures and pet animals that remain inside the house. The inhabitants of the house often leave the house with the impression that everyone is out. But they tend to forget that there may be other small creatures or insects still present inside the house. So what happens? That they sometimes forget. They think, okay, we have blocked the house, we are going, but there are some creatures in the house. How do they behave when you leave? Okay, so many of you also have pets at your home, right? Some people have dogs or cats or even birds. So when you leave them and you go, how do they behave? Have you ever thought about it? So think about it and we'll discuss about it in the online class. Okay, so moving on, answer the following questions. Who are inside the house when everyone is out? घर के अंदर कौन होता है जब सब लोग बाहर चले जाते हैं? So what is it? There is the fly, the flame, the dog, the mice, the kitten and the spiders are inside the house when everyone is out. Is that clear? Then question number 2 is match. So there were options given to you. See, there was dog, flame, mice and fly. So you have to match it accordingly. So I have given the answers. So what is it? Dog, and dog is related. You remember in the poem it was clearly mentioned that the dog, see, I'll show you again. See, and the dog on his rug. So this is what you need to remember. The flame, coals, mice. So mice lives in the holes. Okay, fly, wall. Is that clear? We have discussed about it. What does the poet say? What does the poet say about the spiders and the kitten? So what it says? The poet says that the spiders spin and the kitten curls up. So you remember in the poem, the poet has described about each and every creature. So if we talk about the spiders, what has the poet described? The spiders spin and the kitten curls up. Okay? हमने poem में पढ़ा था. You remember? Okay. Next. Which other creatures do you think can be included in this poem? So I don't want you to see this answer. You tell me. Which other creatures you feel that can be included? See. If I give you the options, I think mosquitoes and ants can be included in the poem. But this is my answer. You can add even more creatures to it. Okay? Then appreciation. There is a question of appreciation that you have to write it on your own. Also, a little more about the poem. So that section also, I want you to use your own imagination and you can write it on your own. And then we will discuss it in the online class. So is it clear, students? So I hope the topic is clear to all of you and we will meet in the next class. Till that, God bless you all. Goodbye.